My name is Haley Breezak, and today I'm going to be discussing with you a little bit more about turfgrass management, more specifically fairy ring on golf courses. In today's discussion, we'll be looking at the challenges and background of fairy ring, along with solutions, including the status quo solution and then 3 additional ones. Throughout the entire presentation, we'll be going over some biological, ecological, and environmental considerations. And then lastly, we'll end with a recommended plan for future action for courses to take. Fairy ring is a cool season turf disease. Any turf in any course can be impacted by it. It's caused by the soil-borne fungi. This encompasses the mushroom-forming fungi. It creates aesthetic and playability concerns. Golf greens tend to be the most impacted due to the low mowing height. And then it fosters localized dry spots, and this is due to the hydrophobic conditions that contribute to dead turf and then also drought stress. A few influential factors are going to be climate and then soil, including the higher pH and lower water content soils, and then the nutrients, which tends to have higher levels of ammonium, potassium, and sulfur. The current focus right now is that with increasing golfer expectations, there's a need for consistent aesthetic on the course because these customers are paying for nice greens and nice fairways to play on. But these rings can be very annoying aesthetically, and then also they're promoting drought stress on the turf and around the rings. So for these photos, we'll see type 1 on the top, which is dead turf. This is the most damaging to turf, and it's usually caused by hydrophobic residues and most commonly seen on putting greens. In type 2, we'll see green rings, which result from the recent nitrogen and other nutrients into the soil, and it's most evident in turf that's deficient. And then in type 3, we'll see mushrooms or puffballs, which may occur more frequently in areas that are poorly drained or over-irrigated. So how do we keep up? Preventative control is going to be much more effective than curative control. So the largest challenge is going to be that many species and their responses to control methods tend to differ greatly. So this makes it hard to have a one-fits-all solution. In addition, the cost of each method will depend on the severity of the fairy ring and how widespread it is across the course. A few control methods that are out there currently are chemical control, non-fungicidal chemical control, cultural control, and biological control. And then some further considerations to keep in mind before we discuss the solutions is that fairy ring is further categorized as either edaphic or ledophilic, so it's either soil inhabiting or thatch inhabiting. The status quo solution is going to be chemical fumigation. This is most effective as a preventative measure, and there are many different chemicals out there, but fungicide alone will not control fairy ring, and in addition, leaching and runoff of these chemicals into water bodies on the course may occur. The first solution that we're going to look at is going to be cultural. It's core aerification. Core aeration means physically removing small soil cores from the turf. This tends to reduce thatch and organic matter and minimize fairy ring severity. And it also helps break up the soil mat and improves water penetration to reduce dry spots. The second solution is going to be nitrogen application. This helps mask the rings, and then it also makes the surrounding turf greener and the affected turf becomes less noticeable. But we have to keep in mind that too much nitrogen will overstimulate the turf and lead to more serious diseases. The third solution is complete soil removal. This is where we take all of the soil out of the affected area by digging out, and then this tends to be very time consuming and disruptive to the surrounding soil. But when we look at our future plan of action, the strategy should depend on whether it's edaphic or ledophilic, the level of turf maintenance, and then the degree of the symptoms. My recommended plan for future action for any golf course is going to be 1, aerate the soil and apply a fungicide. 2, immediately apply a wetting agent afterwards. 3, apply nitrogen where needed to mask the rings and make them less noticeable. And then 4, hopefully this would not be an option, but remove the effective turf if that's the only possible option to deal with the fairy ring. And then lastly, we need to keep in mind that fairy ring is difficult to fully eliminate because it is soil or thatch inhabiting, but the goal here is going to be to alleviate the symptoms. Thank you.